online a couple of different ways. You can do a live class virtually. So it's live led, right? Like I'm teaching it, you're in it. Um, and depending on a couple of situations, usually I will be moving through the class. So you have a visual to watch, and it's all accessible at all levels. So you have a visual to watch. I will be cueing verbally, and you'll be able to watch my body and what I'm doing and kind of use that as a reference. And that's done live. So there's always that option for feedback or whatever. The other way to do yoga online is for like an on-demand platform. So there are classes that have been already recorded that I have done, I have moved, I have also cued as I'm moving, as if I was cueing myself. And you can always hit pause in those and double check like what the alignment is and what where you're at with that. So there are a couple different ways to do it. And again, you can do a class, you can do a one-on-one. So it really, the online version opens up a lot of possibilities in that sense. So it can be done as a class, it can be done one-on-one, both are live, or you can grab a class that's already been recorded, and that way you're doing it at your own time and your own convenience.
Okay, quick.
My first thought is convenience. It's there are a lot of times my schedule runs my day, and I am not even a parent, right? So I can imagine that kids run your schedule, which run your day. So if that's your vibe, um, convenience, you don't have to go and try and get somewhere. Like I said earlier, you don't have to like. How many times have you sat in traffic? Like, I just need to get to yoga. I'm not going to make it. And the light turns red, and you're like, no. Right? And I've worked for studios that they lock the door. So even if you're like 2 minutes late, that's it. So like the stress level to get to a place to de-stress is really high, which is funny to me. And so it just kind of takes that out of it. It's very much on your time if it's a pre-recorded class, or just grab your phone. It doesn't have to be a computer and set up. I don't necessarily have to see you. You can just hear me. There's lots of ways to make it super convenient. Um, and so that would be like the one big answer as far as just the for everybody convenience. But the other one I think I touched on before was just, connecting to people across the globe that you would never have connected before. When we were all doing yoga online, so many people, we kind of hang out and chat afterwards. So there would be like 4 or 5 screens, and we were just talking about, like what it's like to live in South Africa and what it's like to live in Canada. And I think I had somebody in Rome, and, we were just kind of all over the globe. And you would have never met those people in the past. And I think that was just really awesome. Um, yes. So online yoga and in person, there are the very obvious difference, right? Like there are no physical hands-on adjustments. Um, but it is my absolute belief, and I know this in taking a lot of online classes, that you can absolutely hold space for a class and a person while being distant, right? And it's all about the connection. So for me, it's really important that people keep their video on. Because not only then can I see you, and if I need to make adjustments or cue differently so that you're understanding different or anything like that, but you can also see that there are other people throughout the world doing the same thing that you are in that space. And that is where my heart really lies, right? Is yoga literally means to yoke, to bring together, to connect. And what an amazing platform. Like I'm getting really excited about it. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm sitting up, I'm leaning forward, my face is feeling flushed. But what an amazing platform to connect the entire world, right? Like if we're gonna do Warrior 2 in a class, know that there are 4 other people somewhere in the world in that moment sharing that experience with you. And how incredibly awesome is that? So it is very different, right? There is a lot of benefit to doing yoga in a classroom with a teacher and other students, and you get that energy. But I have done many of online classes that you get that same vibe, right? And it's almost more like wow because they're not in the room with you. Um, Online yoga is done both ways. I leave my schedule open for one-on-one. which I really like, especially for students who are just either beginning their class and they have limitations, things that have kept them off, out of a studio and out of a gym setting in the past, and just kind of breaking down, um, I want to say safer ways, but ways that make the practice more accessible for them. And that's a really great option to do one-on-one. Also, students who have been practicing for a little while, but big rooms, and maybe are kind of struggling with the pose or don't really understand if they're doing it right, and just haven't had that one-on-one option. So that's a really good place to be. And then, if you've seen a pose, like say your headstand is your goal, and you're just not really sure if you can do it, let's get together and let's work through it. So it can be done one on one in multiple platforms for multiple um, outcomes, reasons, or whatever. But also there is an online class available, so you can join a class that others are in at the same time. And like I said, I just like the idea of keeping your Zoom camera on and joining the class as if you were just in a studio, right? You'd see other people there, they would see you, but no one's really watching other people in the Zoom class. So it's just kind of sharing that energy together. So currently my schedule, I offer one live class a week. As far as like open to the public, anyone can drop in. It is Friday mornings here in Arizona time, so wherever you are in the world, you have to kind of do the Google math. I'm not really good at time zones. I always get confused. But so it's here in Phoenix, Arizona at 9 a.m. On Friday. And that's a foundation level course. I have some open slots through the week for one-on-one. So if you're just looking to, learn what Warrior 2 is, or a modification that might work for you, or if you see a pose that you really want to work into and have that like one-on-one, how to get in, how to get out safely. So I do open my schedule a few times a week for that, and that is just based on availability. You just reach out and let me know, we'll make a plan and get together that way. But there's also an on-demand library in which the schedule is completely on your own terms or your own time. So whenever you can fit it in, there are classes anywhere between 15 minutes up to, I think when I kind of just kept going, it's just over an hour. So lots of, that's the hard part for me online, right? It's like, I just keep going. There's no time. I would say it to some degree it's almost easier, because it does tend to be smaller platforms. So there's a couple, there could be fewer classes, students in that class. And so having a question in the middle is perfectly fine. Um, there's always space in the beginning or at the end of a class. So if a question comes up while we're in a flow or moving and it's not, something that student would want to interrupt the class or change directions or whatever, they can always ask in the beginning or at the end. There's always time for that. Um, I would say it's probably about the same as any other class. Um, I do tend to move with you because that way you have something to see. And it does make it a little bit different in that regard. But otherwise, yeah, I would say just as easy as it would be in a studio. There are so many benefits to doing yoga online. I personally think more than doing yoga in a studio in a classroom. One being that you can be anywhere in the world, right? You don't have to be at a certain place at a certain time. Um, my first thought is moms with littles who don't have a daycare, or maybe your kid is homesick from school and you can't get to the class you want. So there's that accessibility, and it's you're in your own home, in your own space, wherever you want to be. The other option is if we're just not in the same town, or maybe we're across town and it's really hard to get to. Um, and so there's, the commuting side. Anywhere in the world, you go on vacation and you can still jump in a yoga class. You don't have to miss your favorite class. It's still right there in your pocket, right? Like, how amazing is that? Um, there is a world of online yoga that is just so accessible nowadays, and some really amazing teachers offer online platforms that I personally would never have an opportunity to do. So, in a virtual class, being on demand, it's literally yoga in your pocket, which is just we all need yoga in our pocket. If you ask me, that's my opinion. Everyone needs more yoga in their pocket, like anytime you need it. Especially with the meditation online platform, as well as like the movement, the asana, the physical yoga side of it. So, um, yeah, lots of benefits to doing yoga online for so many reasons. For so many reasons. Definitely for accessibility, convenience, right? Like pop open your tablet, your phone, your whatever you've got, even just pop in earpods and go for it. And it just the accessibility of reaching teachers and students across the entire globe. I think that's just such an amazing, there's so much out there, and it's just a scratch on the surface when we really start thinking about practicing on our mat, and doing things online just opens up the whole world. Um, and meeting people that you would never meet before that, are sharing this experience with you. I think that's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Pretty much like you can choose any class, even in person, right? Like I think the best thing to do would be to chat to the instructor, um, check out their vibe. There's most instructors I do, most instructors that I know as well also have like a YouTube channel, and you can check that out and see if that's something that feels right for you. But even at that, definitely having a conversation, schedule a one-on-one session. I offer them completely free to just kind of talk about what your goals are, what your purpose is. And it's really important to know maybe what your curiosity is. You don't necessarily have to know why you want to do yoga, but definitely what's piquing the interest and why now. And then kind of diving in from there. So getting an idea of what it is you're looking for will help us as well, myself and any other class that you choose, to get you the program or the yoga style that will be best suited for what it is that the student's looking for. So you can jump on my website. You can also pop me an email if you want to chat about whether this is actually the right platform for you or not. And I'm super open to answer any questions you might have, especially if those, with injuries, limitations, or that sort of thing, which is 100% available to work with. Just, to kind of, as a heads up, usually beginning with class, it's good to know what those are. Um, and so the website's janethavenga.com, Havenga, or you can also go to doyogawithjanetonline.com, which I think is super cool website name. But and you can also join a class there. You can download the library. There's some in there that are completely free, and you can rent them for the hour or buy them for forever.